So quite the
water planet. And
water
a very
planet, yeah.
interesting choice of temperature that leaves a tiny little ring of trees perfectly around the equator. What an
Yeah, that is
interesting
funny.
planet. I quite like that. And there's a lot of water on this planet, and I know among the community there's a lot of hate for naval because people like stuff to move fast and quick, and you know, I actually quite like it. What do you reckon about naval?
You know, I do like the naval as well. Like, and the naval, some of the naval things are so epic. They're just ability to fire at range, the kind of the delicate balance of like ship to shore versus shore to ship fighting. That, you know, originally some of the artillery units were meant to be focused on fighting the water.
And so here we go in round 3, Drunken Reaper and JumboJimbotron in Team Blue for the Aussies in the Burning Clan. And in orange we have Klops and the WrongCat. And having a look at the spawns, Team Blue are nice and close, which is pretty good. They've got decent spawns, I'm happy with them. Looking at Team Orange, and I think that's fair, so I wish good luck to the team players. And I know that the game is going on.
Looking at the metal around the land spawn of orange, I feel like that looks pretty good. You know, there's just this nice strip of metal through that whole area, and the water near it, for the most part, is not the ones I'm expecting to see any kind of bombardment from naval. You know, that people are going to focus on the big water mass for, you know, what's going to happen, and you know, be a lot of naval in that space, and then you know, those 2 smaller lakes. You know, you may or may not ever see any water factories or naval factories in there.
It's one of those things you've got to be careful of. You know, I would always put up a factory there just in case, because if you get some air fabbers coming in down the south and building in that little lake next to orange, then you could get surprised by the naval units.
Yeah, you can. You know, an alternative now is that since the commander and the basic fabricators can build torpedoes, they could just put those along the edge there, and it's a lot harder to assault. Blue just scouted the land base of orange.
Yeah, so they have that intel, and they should know that that's a really critical player to be attacking. There's a lot of metal there to be fighting over. They want to be able to disrupt them as much as possible. And
orange has, just looking at their vision, they have scouted the northernmost base of blue as well. So each team scouted one of the other bases, but still searching for the other one.
Looking at the orange player that started in the water, he has immediately moved northwards and got a land factory out, which is nice and important. Often a little bit bad if you're just in the water. You can be a little bit weak to some things. It's always nice to get up on the land and expand in that direction as well.
Yeah, naval factory happening there for the blue team, and I think that it's important. Like, it's always tempting for many players to just kind of build air out on the water and then get to land and build a land factory, but ships are the kind of the best units on water. So not really that surprising. Air is okay, but the ships are better, and so it's really important to get that out. And interesting to see that they have not chosen to do so.
Having a look at Team Blue, the player that started in the water to the left has moved immediately on with some air fabbers to get up a vehicle bot factory on the land. Good moves. Also getting up some fabbing boats to start expanding and grabbing all the metal that's available in the water. It's pretty critical for Team Blue to be winning this large lake and grabbing all the metal that is available to them.
Yeah, and they, I guess those 2 large sections are connected. However, they are getting up naval factory for each of them. And I think they're about to scout the other orange base. Sure enough, they do. And they see the commander and all those goods shot down by the fighters of orange. However, they got the information they wanted.
They got the information they wanted, which is what's important. So I think they now know that they really probably ought to be putting quite a bit of targeting power on that orange player so they can win that naval, but also if they leave the other orange player, then there's so much metal available to him, and then they could fall behind. Speaking of that orange player on the land, they have started a T2 vehicle factory, 2 engineers assisting it currently.
Yeah, and the orange players do have 173 metal production versus 124 per second that the blue team has, so they have kind of started to pull ahead.
Yep, and I think that's the starting position differences really. I think blue needs to really get some rapid expansion on. Something like proxy bases with air fabbers building up in different areas of metal and expanding that way.
Yep, and the blue team now has just put down a radar here and probably sees the incoming tank, and actually just sees some of the the metal extractors here of the orange team. They've scouted that, and they've actually fully scouted the tier 2 factory, vehicle factory over there as well. So they have good information. They've done their homework on that.
Yeah, good intel gathering from blue so far. Got to capitalise on it, however. Looking over at a T2 air factory now started by the other orange player who is in the water.
And a tier 2 air factory for blue over on their land section. Now, another thing that's going on is there's now a stream of ships coming from the blue player over to the orange player's northern base. And they have a naval factory there. However, there's a lot of bombardment that could occur here with that. Look at all the stuff on land that will be in range of the navy of blue. So, they're orange is ahead on overall production in both categories. However, there's a lot of losses that could happen, and the first shots have been fired.
They're not falling too far behind on metal as well, so they're still holding on pretty well. And they have an engineer assisting that factory to get those units moving up there nice and quick. It looks like they're also going to be sending the forces from their other naval factory over there. So there's quite a bit to lose in this area. But however, they're assisting quite a bit on that T2 with 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 engineers now assisting that T2 factory, about halfway through. So it's really critical for Team Blue to first of all move over there with their naval units and try and take that area off them. And you can see they're also getting out a couple of fabrication boats to start taking that metal. The metal in this water here is really critical for Team Blue to be taking, because it's a lot of the metal that's actually available to them.
Yeah, and they've already started the damage. They killed a power plant and a metal extractor, and the narwhal that they chose as their first ship instead of the Orca is a really good choice because they've shot down a bunch of air that was in the area. So far, they're avoiding
really well for them.
So far, they're avoiding the North Shore. They take out the air factory, and they're taking out the some more metal and power. But the commander is coming over this way with an Orca of his own. But I don't think that's a great idea. I mean, I guess he'll probably take those out.
Yeah, commander is coming over to see what's happening here. Commander's taking a little bit of damage though. You've always got to be careful with the damage that goes on your commander, because it is pretty much permanent. A lot of people don't know, but the anti-air boats, the narwhals these days, are actually very good at direct fire. They have a lot of DPS. They're not much weaker than the Orcas, but they do have a little bit less range. They're very good utility all-rounders. Yeah,
I think he's just using the commander to tank some damage so that he can get his Orca over there to participate. And some Kestrels coming out.
Coming in, so we'll see how they do against the narwhals. Narwhals get rid of one of them, putting a little bit of fire on the other. You can see the gunships really got such high DPS they can take them out very quickly.
Yep. They're quite a bit lower. If he had focused on that one first, he might have been able to get it down. But now they've got 2 highly damaged narwhals, and
having a look at Team Blue as well, they are doing a lot of scouting. I'm constantly seeing fighters going in there to do some scouting over Team Orange base, which is really important, and very good play from them. We also see Peregrines now moving forwards for Team Blue. They have their air support, exchanging some fire with some of the other Peregrines that are here from Team Orange.
Yep, and just going to check on that base. Team Orange has gone ahead and produced a couple of Tier 2 vehicle fabrication units, and are using that to kind of start their move into Tier 2 economy. They've got power plant on the way, working on some tier 2 metal spots, working on the tier 2 advanced radar.
And the T2 radar as well.
Yeah, that'll be a big boon to them. Tier 2
Nice
factory.
little group of scampers getting in wins here, and if we have a look at the medal, these scampers, just minimal raiding with small amounts of units, have managed to take out mechs here, and are now bringing Team Blue ahead in terms of medal, and very pretty much identical on power, so Team Blue is beginning to move ahead on the eco front. Well played by them.
Big scouting run by Blue over the orange base on land, and you're right, yeah, those scampers are just, I'm sorry, those docks, everybody knows they're docks.
No, they're definitely scampers.
No, I think that's like an upcoming name for the
No, trust me, I've been here a long time, they're definitely scampers.
Okay, so anyway, they're really getting the work done. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least of those metal extractors have been destroyed, and that's 35.
Yeah, just very effective little scampers in the right place that can do a lot of damage. One gunship on its own doing a little bit of raiding against Blue's forces at the South Pole.
Yeah, and they'll be able to probably take a lot of that out just by, if they take the time to do so. It looks like they've kind of wandered off.
I do see something interesting happening here. We do see Pelicans have been built, the T2 transports. I'm not sure what they're going to be using for all, but they've got a pretty numerous number. They may be moving over to the other orange base and picking up some vanguards, and we do actually see vanguards have been built. I'm pretty certain that's their plan. And so we might be able to see some vanguard drops pretty soon, which can be incredibly powerful.
That would be very interesting. The big confrontation in the air here. Oh, and the blue team flew by a bunch of those Pelicans, and they were escorted by the Peregrine, so they did get kind of covered there, but looked like they had an opportunity there to do some more damage.
We see a
more
ping
raiding by
Team Blue. Ping there from Team Blue, highlighting some units coming forwards, a mixture of scampers and the anti-air bots, which is nice. So they've got support from T2 Air. Gunship coming in to deal with it, but it may run some problems.
I'd really like to see either team really, but the blue team especially seems like it was a natural for them to build a tier 2, an advanced naval factory. An advanced naval factory, you can get such tremendous firepower, both anti-air and anti-land and anti-boat.
We do actually see one queued up there.
Do we? Yes, we do. How about that? Maybe that's coming after the... Oh, yeah, they're just going over to do it now. Now, they don't have a lot of defense out there for this kind of...
Lots of T2A units coming in against the blue base, however, and there's a lot of gunships in there. Commander coming in and making quite a bit of damage to their base. Focusing in on the flak, are they? No, focusing in on the nuke launcher. Flak going up.
And that was
very careful.
That nuke wasn't even started the actual nuke itself, so not a huge loss. But they're at least aware that the blue team's thinking about the nuclear approach. Big bombardment going on. Ship
nice
to shore.
Harassment there. Putting pressure on Team Orange, stopping those units coming in and doing raiding. Good work from Team Orange, taking the right-hand side of that large lake. And we see the vanguards have been picked up from these Pelicans now, moving over the commander at that base. And we'll see where they come in for. Being escorted by those Peregrines, always have the Peregrines going in first, so you don't throw them away for nothing. It looks like we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, sorry, 8 units coming in. Quite a few Peregrines flanking them, and they're going to come in. They're going to come straight in at the main base. There's nothing to stop them here, and we're probably going to see a successful drop. This could be absolutely devastating to Team Blue as they lead ever so slightly in terms of eco. And down comes the drop, and they all get dropped instantly, and everything gets vaporized so quickly with those vanguards.
Yeah, and the Vanguard spreading out there, just knocking down tons of economy, tons of production. Really, already 5 power plants, including an advanced one. And yeah, they're left in a position.
Yet. The commander is now finally moving, but the commander actually moves ever so slightly slower and can definitely be caught by vanguards. So it's still going to be a little bit of a race to the water to hope those vanguards do not catch him out. That is a real big hit for Team Blue. They've lost a lot of power and now pretty even on the stakes.
Yep, I mean Blue had actually been ahead on on metal as well for a little bit, but Orange just kind of like flipped it over again. And this race up the line here of all their power and that huge base, just a giant. The commander should just escape to water, and off he goes to do that. In fact.
A really important drop there. So from
Yep.
behind they've
And
switched the tables and now have an advantage in terms of medal.
Pelicans are coming in to pick those guys up and move off to the next drop point. Very good micro, putting those. Gonna go right over this anti-air.
Oh, goodbye, goodbye.
And they took out a couple of them.
Still got 3 left.
3 left. 3 vanguards is actually quite a few. 2 vanguards now.
Yeah, you drop them before you lose them.
Yep, they did drop them, and now the next round of vanguard movement here. But the sniper bots may be able to take care of them.
No sniper bots, but we do see slammers there. They should be able to
I'm sorry, you're right.
job. We also see another group of blue raiding units just a little further south of there trying to get in, but unfortunately they've been absolutely slammed by that turret there.
And the vanguard drop is over.
DPS. Slammers have very high DPS. They're actually pretty good against taking out those vanguards.
Big raid back near that base that got wiped out by blue. Just a bunch of...
a lot of air units. Gunships moving in and trying to clean up what remains, and that's a big loss for blue. They have, however, got a lot of map control, a lot of T2 in other places as well, so they're definitely not out of the game yet.
And they're advanced.
The main problem is the power.
Yeah, the advanced naval's done, and they're cranking out advanced fabricator from that, and hopefully we'll start to see some Leviathans and etc. from there. Stingrays, is it? Remember.
Yeah, the Stingrays are awesome anti-air units. To be honest, I would always go for T2 air fabbers and make sure that you're building all the aggressive T2 units from the naval factory, but they did lose their T2 air factory and are now rebuilding it on the shoreline of their other base.
Bit of a conflict on the land between blue and red. Micro of the slammers going on there. Bunch of tier 1 bots and a couple of vanguards, and there's a leveler and a vanguard. So I think that these slammers are going to be able to clean this up just fine.
Ooh, those scampers got absolutely melted there. Lots of
flip
units
over to
still
the
moving forward from Team Orange though.
Army tab here for a second to look at what's going on there. 160 count to 270 of blue. Similar disproportionate ratio favoring orange on the total metal invested in the army or in the living army. Mobile wise, they've got 200 units to the 56 of blue and 94 fabbers to the 52. So really just kind of ahead in every respect in terms of their actual army and production.
This is not looking good for Blue's base though, as we see 2, 4, 6, 7 vanguards standing outside. They need to start moving forwards because the slammers are taking shots at them, but I think they're going to get close and they're definitely going to cause some damage. Slammers, however, moving close to that vanguard. Oh, they get melted!
Yeah, that was a huge mistake there. No reason to move those guys forward. And the vanguards are into the base again, and there's a commander right there who's not really moving away.
Yep.
And all those vanguards are making a beeline for him. I think this could be a big commander loss. Okay, commander finally moving away. Needs to escape to the water. And the vanguard is in range.
Oh, he doesn't manage to take him out. It looked like it was going to be very close, but I think those sniper bots managed to do
There's vanguards coming in from the other side as well. Or no, those are levelers, sorry. Put down some damage on the commander there. Yeah, there's really kind of continuing to pick away at them. I think we're kind of seeing the beginning of the end here. Stingray coming out of the second Stingray actually coming out, but I think it's a little bit late. One of them's moving down there to try to save all that stuff on the ocean, but it's going to be gone before he ever gets there.
Did you see the launcher has been finished by Orange? I think in this situation we really need to start thinking about snipe attempts.
Yeah, it's time for those backup strats. And again, this is one of those times where it's like if you'd taken if you think about the total metal out there, like I mean, Blue's down to 152k, 50 of which is part of his commanders, but 100k of stuff out there. It's not that expensive to have gotten an orbital launcher, and with that orbital launcher, you could have tremendous radar coverage and potentially the SXX. SXX might be too expensive. I'm sorry, the SIZX, as I decided to call it.
The new term is the SIZX, the SIZX laser.
SIZX laser satellite. Black made a big cleanup on those air support, but the armies are continuing to come into that blue base. The stream of orange all the time.
Yeah, that nuke is now being assisted. The stream of orange coming in and pushing blue off the land here. Commander retreating into the water. And if we have a look around the map, all of this raiding with those T2 gunships flanked by the T2 Peregrines means that a lot of blue's map control, where they had all of that metal, has been lost. Currently sitting on 264 metal compared to 874.
Yeah, that's a huge drop from what they had before, right? And they haven't taken the time to get their water metal up to tier 2 yet, so.
And GGs do get called.
Yep. Well, that was a really good game, and the viewers once again make the prediction about what's going to happen in the game, and picking the wrong cat and flops. But clearly, competent play by Drunken Reaper and JumboJimbotron.
Yeah,
just didn't pan out.
Yeah, it definitely was not a whitewash. They did very well. I think they had slightly worse spawn positions, but they really managed to make a great job of it. I think it was just
Two
really
Stingrays
solid play for Team Orange.
Just about take out that huge swarm of air. I feel like if they'd gotten some of that tier 2 naval earlier, it could have been a very different game. But
yeah,
I
agree. I think tier 2 naval really would have. They really would have put it in their favour. They could have been bombarding the shore. They could have had more support against air units. That would have helped them, I think.
Mobile units are mobile combat units in the Spectator. So there's not Fabbers and not Factories. But it does not include. Oh, there goes the nuke. I don't know why they haven't GG'd out, because they've said it already, but
one nuke launched and another one is nearly ready, so I think if they nuke in the same place, both commands will get hit and it will be GG. Second nuke is now finished. We'll probably see it launched pretty soon. First nuke lands straight in the middle. Perfect placement. One that goes now nearly takes down the other one.
The commander got damaged in the previous combat. Goes.
And he concedes the game. GG's. And on to the next game.
On GGButton.com.
Yes, you can get your own at GGButton.com. So you see what I mean? Like, don't count out Drunken Reaper, because he's a
no, not at all. They actually reached a point there where they were kind of pressuring WrongCat and Flops pretty hard, and they went from behind in metal to above in metal, etc., and then later, they kind of like tipped back again with the rating.